Hey, what's up guys? It's Ivan, and in this video, I'm going to show you a complete A to Z Microsoft Ads tutorial, or Bing Ads as they used to be called. This is actually a part of my online marketing blueprint training course, which you can get free starter access to at ivanmena.com. And in this video, we're going to go over everything you need to know about Microsoft Ads. So we're going to start off by going over what Microsoft or Bing Ads are, what they look like, and more importantly, whether they're right for you. We're then going to get into conversion tracking because you cannot hit a target you can't see. Super, super important, guys. Absolutely essential for you guys to do that. We're going to get into campaign creation. I'm also going to show you guys how to import campaigns from Google Ads, from Facebook Ads, from Pinterest Ads. Really, really cool if you already have campaigns on those platforms. And then we're going to end it off with showing you how to create remarketing audiences so that you can retarget and remarket the people that visited your website via these Microsoft Ads. So let's get straight into it.
So now let's talk about Microsoft, or Bing Ads as they were formerly called. And in this video, I want to show you what the Microsoft ads look like, and then we're going to see if they're right for you. So Microsoft ads run just like Google on search networks like Bing.com or AOL.com, Yahoo.com. When somebody types something in, as you can see here, a search result shows up with the same concept. You have site link extensions here. You have, these are price extensions. You have potentially other extensions that are very, very similar to Google. So everything is going to be pretty much the same, even the layout. They update the layout in the same way that Google Ads does. So you have ads that look like this. You have ads that look like this on AOL, as you can see also, ads related to. You have Yahoo ads, so on and so forth. So with Microsoft ads, you're going to be running ads on search as well as potentially display. But let's discuss that in a second as we discuss if Microsoft ads is right for you. So first of all, in terms of the audience size, it's obviously much, much smaller than Google. So if Google has 1 billion daily active users, Bing has about 100 million. However, because Bing is more so an older search engine, so all the people switched over to Google, the people that do use Bing usually are older and have higher incomes. So if your products are specifically targeting an older demographic, as well as people that need a higher income to purchase your products, Bing could be an option for you. In general, Bing is a great option whether you want to scale your Google ad campaigns and you want to try a different audience, because obviously with Google Ads, you can't reach Bing.com, for example. Or if your campaigns aren't doing as well on Google.com and you want to come in here and try and see how well Microsoft does. So these are the demographics. This is generally who Microsoft is good for. In terms of networks, what networks does Microsoft search versus Google run on? So whereas Google runs on obviously Google.com and some of their partner sites, Microsoft runs on AOL, Yahoo, and additional third-party sites, especially when it comes to display advertising. So this is when it comes to search, okay? So when it comes to search, I do recommend Microsoft ads. If you do have the budget and you have the time to try out something else, then absolutely there's no reason not to do Microsoft ads. However, if you're limited on budget, you're limited on time, and you want to manage only one network at a time, I would first go with Google because it's the bigger one, has much more data, has a much bigger reach. And then as you start having a bigger budget and have more time to manage multiple campaigns, then you can switch over and add Microsoft. Sorry, not switch over, but you can add Microsoft to your repertoire. Now, in terms of the display ads, so Microsoft does have the display ads as well, which they call audience ads. They were recently introduced just a few years ago, not as long-standing as Google. Now, if you do want to run display ads in general, I would recommend either Google or some of the other networks that I'm going to mention in this course, because first of all, you have to be approved to be able to run the audience ads. So not everybody can run these display ads on Microsoft. You need to be given permission. You need to contact support and ask them, tell them that you're interested, and then they approve or decline you. I'm not sure exactly what metrics they look at and why they determine to approve you or not, but that is unfortunately the process. So it is a little harder to get into. And when you create your Microsoft Ads account, you won't be able to just come in there and start creating your display campaigns right away. Second of all, I personally haven't had good experience with Microsoft display ads, with their audience ads. They are mostly bots. They are these older sites that aren't as popular for people to go to, right? Now it's more shifting towards Google, and then towards TikTok now is slowly replacing YouTube, for example. So the quality of traffic from their display ads has been quite poor for me. So you're welcome to try it, absolutely. But if you are looking for display ads, I'd recommend Google or the other networks that I'll talk about in this module. And if you're looking to expand your search and have the budget to spend on Google and Microsoft, as well as the time to manage both of the different networks, then I would also add Microsoft ads. Other than that, I would definitely stick with Google. Much bigger reach, much higher quality traffic in my experience. So that is all for this video. Hope this gives you a better idea of where you can see these Microsoft ads and whether Microsoft ads are right for you. All right, so now let's come in and create our Microsoft Ads account. So the first thing you guys want to do is head over to ads.microsoft.com. You will land on a page that looks like this. They give you so many chat options. They want you to advertise with them. You can chat here, you can call them here, you can schedule an appointment, you can chat with them here again. So unlike Google Ads, where you need a Google account to advertise, you don't need a Microsoft account to advertise. However, if you don't have a Microsoft Ads account, you will need to create one. So let's do one together. Let's click on sign up now, and we're gonna use our email here that we have created in the previous modules. I'm gonna copy that. And we're going to click on create one, and we're going to enter our email, click next, and we're going to enter a password, and we'll click next, and we're going to fill in some details, Ivan Mana, click next. We're going to enter the country and the date of birth, and now they want to verify us, so I'm going to uncheck that. I don't want any emails, and we're just going to refresh this and wait for their email. And there you go, only took 5 seconds. I'm going to copy that code, Control C, Control V, and we're going to click on next. And we're going to help them beat the robots, unless of course you are a robot. So we're going to, I believe it's like that, click on submit. So now it's asking us to verify us again. So let's verify us one more time. Open the email, refresh, get this little code here. And now we should be taken to the Microsoft Ads where we will need to answer some more questions again. So we will actually import. I'm going to show you guys how to import so you don't start from scratch, but we're just going to click on create, and then we want to skip everything. In fact, you want to look for any option anywhere here that's going to tell you to skip the campaign process because we don't want to create it right now. Now, before we create the campaign, it's asking us all these questions. I strongly recommend that you take the time to fill in the details exactly as they are. Do not lie. If they find any contradictory information, including your website, if you put in a different website than what you've created, they will ban your account just like that. No questions asked. I've seen it with my own eyes. Be very honest in whatever you put in here. So I'm just going to come in here and say Canada. I'm going to click next. And once I answer all of these questions, I'm going to look for the skip the campaign creation process. We're not ready for that just yet. So here we enter the URL. Make sure to enter your URL right here. We're going to copy that, paste it, next. And then we just want to create an account. We don't want to create a campaign just yet. So we're going to click next. And now it's asking us for account details. So just come in here and just fill in all this information. Make sure you do it correctly. Make no mistakes. Again, if they find any discrepancies, they will ban your account outright. Take this seriously. I'm going to come in here and just fill all this in, and then I'm going to click on next. All right, so I filled those details in. Now you want to set up your payment details here. So obviously just come in here and select how you want to pay. Depending on the country that you're in, you will have different options here. And you can also choose prepay or postpay. So I do recommend postpay, of course, so that after you run the ads, however much is outstanding, that's how much you'll have to pay. That's the general payment system for any traffic network. Usually you don't prepay, although if that's how you want to do it, by all means, feel free. Alternatively, if you want to fill this in after, you can. So what we're going to do is just click on set up payment later, and that's totally fine. And we should get access to our account. Oops, okay, we have to agree to the terms, and let's set up the payments later. And then we'll be able to start the setup process and then enter all the payment details after. However, of course, for your ads to run, you must enter it. So might as well have entered it there. So there you go. Here we are. And in the next few videos, I'm going to be showing you how to import campaigns, how to create campaigns, how to set up tracking, and how to create audiences. So we're inside the account. Congratulations. I will see you in the next video. All right, so let's continue where we left off and start setting up our conversion tracking before we create the campaigns. So before we actually set up the conversion tracking, let's come in there and enable auto tagging and set up the UTM parameters in the same way that we did for Google Ads. So over here, we're going to go to campaigns, we're going to go to settings, and this is going to open our account level options here. And what we want to do is two things. One is we want to add UTM tags to the destination URLs so that all this data gets passed over to Google Analytics. And we want to make sure that we enable this option here, Microsoft Click ID to URLs to allow conversion tracking. We're going to scroll down, make sure everything else is good, and it looks great. So now what we want to do is add these UTM parameters. So if you recall, you can go to GA4 UTM Builder. You should be quite familiar with this by now. and you can enter the URL and just add in all these details. So I've entered just below this video the tokens that we want to use here. So for campaign ID, we're going to leave that blank. For the source, you can say Bing or Microsoft, however you want to call it. I'm used to Bing because that's what it was called when I first started online marketing and a few years after that. So I'm just used to that. Now, CPC, we don't have to label that because we will be paying per click. So I think this is kind of just a really redundant stat. So instead, we're just going to say network, and that's going to tell us what network our ads are run on and where we're getting the most sales, whether it's just Bing, AOL, Yahoo, or whether it's other third-party networks or perhaps audience networks. Again, just take a look below this video. I linked some more information regarding all that. For the campaign name, we can delete that. We can just say campaign. It's stored all of our previous data, by the way. That's why you see that here. For the campaign term, here we want to say keyword. We want to see what keyword got the sale. And then for this, we're going to say add ID, just like that. And then we're going to come down here and we're just going to copy this. Now, this looks a little bit messy with all these variables here, so we might have to adjust that. But let's come back in here and let's just paste that. And then we're going to make some changes. So instead of that, we are going to do this. At least it makes it much easier for us to manage. Keyword, let's do that. And then campaign. What you see here is the end result. So these letters here, the 7 percentage sign and all that, 7D, that's the alphanumerical symbol for this ampersand here, or for this squiggly bracket. So that's why you see it like that. But in the real thing, right, that's going to be replaced with the actual value. So here we have that, and then we just have to remove this part over here. That's done automatically. So now to the end of every website that we're going to put in our campaigns, this is going to be added. UTM source Bing, UTM medium network, UTM campaign, keyword, add ID, okay? And then it's not gonna work if you test it because you don't have a landing page here. However, once we get to the campaign creation process and once you add that URL in the final URL field specifically, then this will be added on top of that final URL. So then it's gonna make sense. But right now you can't really test it because we don't have that there. But we're adding all this at the account level here. So now we can come down, just hit save. And that should be it. So now we're ready to start creating our, what Microsoft calls a UET tag, which is their basically pixel. And then we're going to create our conversion events, such as purchases, initiate checkouts, leads, so on and so forth. So if we come back to settings, just confirm that everything's been done. We see all this here. So we no longer have to touch that at all for our campaigns. We have all of this enabled and we're good to go. I will see you in the next video. All right, so let's continue where we left off and now create our UET tag and set up all these conversion events. So let's just close out all the stuff that we don't need. And let's come in here and click on conversions, click on UET tag. So the UET tag is this basic pixel that Microsoft has that connects with our website. And we're going to do it via Google Tag Manager. So you should be no stranger to that. So we're going to click on create Microsoft Ads, just like Pinterest has this nice, cool little integration where you just give Microsoft Ads permission and they just do it all for you. So let's give this a name. Let's say Dynamic Growth Agency. We don't need to give it a description. Don't worry about enabling this. You will be able to select this later on. So it really doesn't matter whether you select it now or not. We're going to say Google Tag Manager here because that's what we're using. We're going to click next. We're going to sign in with Google and we're going to just let Microsoft set all of this up. We're going to select our account. Going to click continue. We're going to come down. We're going to say continue. And now we're just going to come in here and select the account. We're going to make sure we have this container, which should be the only container. Now, I don't recommend you have this on. So Microsoft is going to look at your tags that you have here, all of them. They're going to pick out the ones that are sending to Google Analytics, and they're just going to duplicate it and send it to Microsoft Ads instead. So you can certainly do that if you want all of these Google Analytics events and tags that we've created to send over to Microsoft Ads as well. However, we don't need them all. We only need a few, right? We need purchase, lead, initiate checkout, and maybe a phone call if that's what you're doing. That's all we really need. So that's why I don't want to come in there and just have to reorganize everything and then delete some things that I don't want. So we're going to check it off. But if you want the simplest way and to have everything automatically be sent to Microsoft Ads, then by all means, just have that check marked. We're going to click next. And we're going to do all this manually ourselves, just so you know how to do it either way. So that looks good. We will be installing this Microsoft Tag Assistant, same as we've been doing for pretty much everything else. So let's click done. And let's just confirm. So it's got this little red icon there saying it's not verified yet. So let's just give it a shot and let's see if it works. So first of all, we're going to refresh this. and it won't work until we submit the changes. Okay, so new containers available. Let's click on update workspace, and then let's just update them. And let's go back into tags. And here it is, the base tag UET. Okay, so this is going to be our UET tag. You don't need this anymore. This is the only place you're going to need it, so we don't have to save it. But if you do want to save it, you should know how to by now, right? Click plus, and then just create one. So here, let's name it, I'm going to call it Bing Ads, just because it's shorter and because I'm very familiar with it. You can call it Microsoft Ads, however you want to call it. And then we're going to say base code. Everything else we're going to leave as is. This is a page view. We're going to target it on page views. And let's just remove this one. We don't need it. We're going to edit, remove that. And then we're just going to add the regular old pages. And then we can just remove this one as well. We don't need the Microsoft Ads all pages. It's the exact same thing. So we're just going to delete that one. And we can't right now because it's part of that tag. That's fine. Let's come back. Let's just add the normal pages. And then we're going to come back and delete that trigger to keep things clean. So let's hit save. Let's go back to triggers. Let's delete that extra additional trigger that they've done that we really don't need. Let's just click on it here. And click delete here. It is the exact same as the old pages, so we really don't need that. Okay, so we've got that added. Let's come in here and let's just preview this, make sure it's working on the Google Tag Manager side, and then we're going to come in and check it on the Microsoft side with the extension. Give it a second to load. We'll confirm, and we just want to make sure that the base code has fired, as it has. Okay, so the Google Tag Manager side works fine. Now what we want to do is we want to save this, and then we want to test it via Bing Ads UET tag. Again, I'm saying Bing Ads. You guys can say Microsoft Ads. It's the same thing. I'm just used to saying Bing. So now we're going to install that Microsoft Ads extension. I believe it's called UET Tag Helper. Let's grab this one here. Let's add it to Chrome. And now we'll be able to access our site and see if it shows up. So we don't need Microsoft or Google Tag Manager anymore. I'm just going to go ahead and add that to the bar. And now we're ready to start navigating to our site. So now let's just come in here and just open this in a new tab. And we need to come in here and refresh this. Refresh the page. And we should see a nice little one here. Just like that, everything's working. Okay, so this tag is all set up. Now what we want to do is we want to set up the events, right? So we want to set up the purchase, initiate checkout, lead, and phone submit. So, and whatever else you guys want, really. By following this process, you will know how to do anything you need. So let's come in here and we are done with this. So actually, this is a twofold process. One is we need to do it in Google Tag Manager, and then we have to come back and do it inside of Microsoft Advertising as well. So let's come in here, let's go back into workspace, let's go into tags, let's update the workspace, let's see what they're trying to do here. And they went ahead and actually duplicated these tags for our Google Analytics anyway, even though we told them not to. So quite frustrating, to be honest, but let's just come in here and delete whichever ones we don't need. And then I'm gonna go through and show you the ones that we can keep. So if you want to track the leads for all these forms, you can keep that, for example, for the, okay, so we have the Google Ads leads as well, and we have the GA4 leads, so we don't need them both. We'll delete one of them. And then Microsoft Ads purchase, we can keep that. Initiate checkout, we can keep that. And then I'm going to show you what that's going to look like as well. And then here's the landing page lead, so we can keep that. And then the phone call click, we can keep that. And then everything else we can delete. We can remove that. Scroll depth, we don't need to track those. Okay, so we can come in here and delete that. Okay, so now let's sort by the type. So we have all the Microsoft ones here. So now we just have to come in here and just rename them a little bit. And let me guide you and show you what they did, what you could have done by yourself. But in this case, they just went ahead and did it. So I don't want to delete them at this point. So we'll just go with what we have. So for example, this is the phone call. And we want to name this, right? So we don't want to name this. So let's come in here and delete that. Let's just say phone call. So basically what they did is they selected Microsoft Advertising Universal Tracking from here. So they said, enter a new tag. They selected Microsoft. They entered that. And then once you select custom conversion here, or is it custom conversion? You don't need to enter the ID, right? So remember when I told you don't have to enter ID, so you don't have to do that. So let's name this Bing Ads phone call. So we do have to go through them and just rename them. So it's going to be called phone call for our action here. For the currency, we don't really need that. Let's just delete that. Everything else looks good, looks good, looks good. And then it's the phone call click, right? So we can come in there and then track it later. And we can leave everything else as is. Let's hit save. And now let's go through the other ones as well. So Bing adds phone call, Bing adds base code. Okay, let's do this. So this is for the begin checkout. That's fine. We want to rename this. This is going to be our, for example, checkout. We're going to rename this Bing adds initiate checkout. Custom conversion checkout. I mean, you can keep currency if you want, or you can use the variable. It really doesn't matter because it's just the checkout, right? They're not buying yet. So we're going to leave that as is. We're going to hit save. Let's do it for the other ones, purchases. So again, they did the same thing. They pulled up a tag. They pulled up this Microsoft ads. They said purchase here, and then they added in the e-commerce value and the e-commerce currency here automatically. So we can leave that. And then for this one, we want to name this purchase because they don't have a built-in variable for purchase, checkout, nothing like that. So we have to do it ourselves, which is fine. But then we're just going to name this Bing ads purchase. Okay. Confirm everything else looks good. All right, let's hit save. And then I think there's one more, right? Our lead. Hold up, let's check. Leads. Yeah, so these ones are general leads. So we can call it lead submit. And then track type define your own. Or we can say custom conversion, lead submit. And then for the event category, for this one, for example, so the event category and label, they're all optional. I mean, all of these are optional. You can choose which one you want to name. In this case, we're naming the action. So these ones are our forms on our site. So we can say, for example, website. And then for the other one, we can say landing page, because that's the landing page lead submit, right? We'll remove that. And then it's going to be on these. All of that is automatic. And then we're going to call it Bing ads website leads. Everything else is good. And then the landing page leads are going to be different than lead gen. We have two here. Let's remove one of them. Yeah, that's what happens when you give Microsoft Ads control. I mean, it's not a bad thing. They, on the one hand, you could say they simplified the process for us, but I did want to show you how to do it from the beginning. Let's say Bing ads landing page lead. Okay, so this one we're going to rename, let's say lead. We can just call it lead. And we're going to leave everything else as is. And then this is our lead sign up thank you page, right? Thank you lead right there. So if you're unsure, you don't know what I'm talking about, I strongly suggest you guys to check out the tracking and analytics module because we go over that in very thorough detail. So here we have the Bing ads, all of these guys here. So now let's check it on the Google Tag Manager side, and then we're going to come in and check it on the actual website. So let's check to see if our purchases come through, if the pixels fire for all these pages. Let's come in here. And let's make sure the initiate checkout pixel fired. So here we're looking for initiate checkout, base code, that's fine. And now we want to buy and see if the purchase pixel went through. All right, so now the purchase pixel should have fired. Bing ads purchase, Bing ads checkout, Bing ads base code. Okay, so all of that is working on the Bing ads side. You could go ahead and test the landing page as well if you really want to do it, but I have no doubt that it's going to work. So let's go into templates, landing pages, and then we can view this one. It's this URL. Let's copy that. Let's come back into Tag Manager. Let's preview. And we're just testing that all of these are indeed working correctly, at least from the GTM side, before we come in there and test it from the Microsoft Ads side. So let's do that. And then that should have triggered the LP landing page lead, see? And then if you really want to, you could also come in here and test the phone call. Come in here. And now if we just enter our site, contact, and now notice we just have the base code fire, right? Just the base code, but then once we click on a phone number, even if we say cancel, even if we don't follow through, we should see the Bing ads phone call fire. All right, so that all looks nice and dandy, but let's check if it works on the Microsoft Ads side as well. So we're good with this. So now we have to come in here and publish this. Let's submit the changes. Let's say Bing ads event tracking. Let's hit publish. And we don't have to go through everything because I know that it's going to work, but let's just go through at least the main funnel, at least just our shirt one. I believe it was / t-shirt. Let's go through this at least and just make sure that all the pixels are firing, at least for the purchase. And then assuming we set it all up correctly, it should fire for everything else. So now this should trigger 2 events here, same as with Pinterest. But if it doesn't, let's just go through the process in an incognito window. Okay, so we're just going to enter the URL here, but instead of this, we're going to type in shirt. Oops, it was t-shirt. Okay, let's activate this helper. Let's refresh. Oh, lordy. Something's wrong with this pop-up. Keeps taking us to the bottom of the page. Let's go get our shirt now. We should see the 2 events here. So if we look at the custom event, we see the name, the event action is called checkout right there. Okay, and then if we fill in all these details, okay, I'm just going to enter the card details in here. Let's hit place order. And now if we look at this one, this event, custom event, we see it's called purchase, we see the value, we see the currency, right? So everything that we need is here. So it is all working. However, now we want to actually have all these conversions inside of Microsoft Ads so that once we run campaigns, we see the data. Because right now everything's working, the pixel's working, but we're not seeing the data. So let's just come in here and refresh this. This should say no recent conversions. If not now, then within 24 hours. And then we can come in and create those custom conversions. So still says unverified, that's fine, give it a bit. In the meantime, let's go to conversion goals. And now we have to create the 4 conversion goals that we want to track, right? The lead, phone call, if that's what you want, purchase, and initiate checkout. So we're going to click on create. We're going to say website. We're going to say next. We're going to select the category. So let's start with purchase. We're going to go with event because we've already created that with Google Tag Manager. We're going to name this, let's say purchase. We're going to give it a value. So the value will vary. So give this average value. And if in case for some reason there are technical issues and the value can't be dynamically updated, then this is the value that's going to show up. This is just the backup value. Okay, so just use the average of everything. And then let's just come back in here because we will need to check this as well, or some of them. You'll see what I mean soon. So scope, we want this to be active on this account. That's fine. Count. So for purchases, we want to count every purchase. If one person buys 3 times, yeah, we want to count all 3 sales. But if it's a lead submit, we want to count unique, okay? Conversion window, you should be familiar with what these mean when I talked about them in the Google Ads and Facebook Ads section. So when somebody clicks and then buys 30 days later, do you want that to count a conversion or not? 30, 31, 32, or 29, whatever. View through is just people viewing as opposed to actually clicking on your ad. And then do you want to include this in conversions? Yes. So this is the main conversion action, right? This is what we want to show in the main conversions column. And then conversion attribution model, they have last click and last touch. Last touch means that if no click was responsible for a sale, then they look at the last impression as opposed to the last click. So we're going to leave it at last click. That's fine. We're going to say next. We will use enhanced conversions. However, there is a lot of stuff that we have to do. So this is something that I'm going to have to add in an upcoming lesson as I update the course and add new content, because this isn't something that's as easy as we have done with the Google Ads automatic matching or Facebook ads where the plugin took care of everything. In this case, we have to push the data layer, which is a JavaScript container, which contains all the data. So we have to push that value, which means we have to have that value show up when somebody enters their email. And then we have to gather information from that container, from that data layer. So that is a slightly more complicated setup. There is no automated setup here. So I'm just going to leave it blank, but let me know in the comments if you guys want to know how to do this. This is another complicated lesson that I can add as I update and add new content to the course. So we're going to enable this for now, but we will set it up later. So we're going to click on save and next. We're going to skip the base tag setup since we already have that set up. Don't worry about this. We're going to hit next. and we're going to hit manual installation. So if you want to track a specific button click, you can enable Microsoft Clarity. And what that's going to do is allow you to just literally click on where you want to track. So if you have a website, you can select, let's say, this box, and you can say, hey, I want to track this box as a click, and you can do that. So that's what this does. It's like with the Facebook event tool. I might not have shown you that, but where you just select the website URL and then you select where you want to track or what you want to track, and then it's going to track that. So that's what this is. In our case, we just want to track specific events that we've already preset with Google Tag Manager. So we don't need that. So we're going to click manual installation. We're going to click next. And then we're going to say action equals to purchase, right? That's what we have here. So we're going to come back here. We're going to look at this. It says here, action purchase. So that's it. So that's all we have to do. We don't need to add another parameter, although you can. So if you added another category for your purchase, let's say you have different pet products and you want to add a different category for purchase, then you can track that as opposed to just tracking any purchase. So that's what you would do. Same with value, same with label. So when do you want to track this event? Well, on page load. Whenever the page loads, we want to track it. We're going to click save. And that's it. We're going to hit done, and this should say no recent conversions quite soon. But in the meantime, let's create a few more actions. Let's add the initiate checkout one. We'll click begin checkout. We'll click event again in case it doesn't click. And then here we'll name it, let's say checkout. There's going to be no revenue here, right? This is just a checkout. People aren't buying yet. Everything else we're going to leave as is. Hopefully this will make sense to you as to what that is. If we're checkouts, actually, we just want to do unique. We don't need to track every single time the same person checks out. We're going to enable enhanced conversions, but we will set it up in an upcoming lesson, especially if you guys are actually actively using Microsoft Ads. We're going to set manual installation equals to, okay, so now see here, we have to come in here and just double check that for our initiate checkout. That's what we said. We said checkout, not initiate checkout. So we have to come in here and just delete this part, just say checkout. So when the action equals checkout, then this conversion will fire, right? So it's going to be on page load. Come down, hit save. Done. Okay, two more. Let's do the lead next and then the phone call. Website next. This is going to be you could say submit lead, or let's look at these other options here. Yeah, I guess just submit lead or sign up, right? So just submit lead form. That makes the most sense. Event. Say submit lead. There's no value for this one as well. Oh, for this one, we don't want to include it in conversions, right? Unless your primary goal is to generate leads. If that's your primary goal, then leave it on by all means. But if your primary goal is sales and leads are just a means to an end, then we don't want that, right? We want that to show up in all conversions, but not in conversions. We don't want Microsoft to optimize based on leads. If your ultimate goal is sales, we want them to optimize by sales. So we're going to keep that off. We're going to hit next. We're going to say yes to enhance conversions. And then later on, we'll just have to do some stuff inside Google Tag Manager if you guys want to set that up. We're going to skip the base setup. We're going to skip all that. Don't worry about any of that. Manual installation again. Come in here equals to. So for our landing page lead, we said just lead. Oops. So we're going to just enter a lead here. And this is going to be a page load. I'm going to hit save. Done. And let's do one more, just the phone call click. Create. Mobile. And then these are all conversions that we're going to be tracking, right? So this one isn't here. So we're just going to say other. We're going to say event. We're going to say next. We're going to say phone call. Revenue, there's no value for that. We just want to track one click per person. We don't want to get many conversions for people just spam clicking the phone call button. We're going to turn on enhanced conversions. We're going to skip the base setup since we already have that. We're going to hit next. We're going to say manual. We're going to hit next. So this one was phone call, I believe. That's what we called it. Phone call. Come back here. Let's look for phone call. It's called phone call. That's what we named it. So we're going to keep the same thing. This is an inline action. This is not a page load, right? This is an action, a button click. So again, don't worry about all of this. All of that is taken care of with Google Tag Manager. We'll click done, and that's it. Congratulations. We have successfully set up our UET tag. We have set up our conversion tracking via the UTM parameters. And now we should start seeing all of these sales that once you start running ads, you will be able to see the conversions inside of your account. So if you don't see this right now, that's totally fine. Give it a bit. Give it up to 24 hours for it to show up, and then it should say no recent conversions as opposed to unverified. That's when you're going to know that it's working correctly. So that is all for this video. I will see you in the next one. All right, so now that we've set up conversion tracking, we're ready to start creating our campaigns. However, instead of taking the long way and just building a campaign from scratch, Microsoft Ads has this import feature, which is what I want to show you here in this video. So we can import our Google Ads campaign, our Facebook Ads campaign, and our Pinterest Ads campaign, which is why I showed you how to build Pinterest Ads before doing Microsoft Ads. Now, if you have watched the Google Ads module, then this should be second nature. This will be super easy to do. I mean, the campaign creation process, but we're going to import it here and just make things even easier. And by the way, you should see your tags and your conversions now say no recent conversions, which means that your tag is active. And if you go to UET tag, it should say active. So if you wait up to 24 hours after doing exactly what I'm showing you here, then this should work for you. Now let's just come in here and close out of everything we don't need, maybe this, and let's start importing our campaigns. Now, the importing for Meta ads and Pinterest ads is a little wonky, especially so if you don't have audience ads enabled on your account. Like I said, it's a hit or miss. Some of you guys will have audience ads enabled and others will have to contact support. I don't know what the metrics are. I don't know who they allow to have access to audience ads or not, but if you don't, then the importing here won't really work for you. Although you can still import images. So let's start off with importing from Google Ads. We're simply going to come in here and just connect to our Google Ads account. So we're going to say customize because we'll want to customize some of the different options. We'll say sign in. And again, let me just close out of some of these things here. We don't need Tag Manager anymore either. And I'm just going to select this account. And then I'm going to go ahead and select our Dynamic Growth Agency account. And we're going to go next. Now you can also import all of your products via Google Merchant Center. So you can come in here and you can also import all of your items. Now we don't really have anything here. We just have, I believe, a t-shirt or so. So there's nothing much for us to import, but if you do have a Google Merchant Center set up, then you would simply sign into Google Merchant Center and Microsoft has their own Merchant Center with their own specific remarketing lists for that. So if you want to go that route and you want to do shopping on Microsoft Ads, then you can certainly do so. We're just going to skip it to keep things simple. And we're going to focus on the search campaigns, which is the real strength of Microsoft Ads when it comes to comparing it with Google Ads, because we're going to reach a market that we just cannot reach with Google Ads by themselves. So we're going to give this a name. So let's say Google Ads import. We could give it a date. Let's say November 21st, 2024. This is going to be for our reference. We'll be able to see all the imports that we've done. And then we can set up an automatic schedule where every time you make changes in Google, they're going to be updated here as well. So this just makes things a little bit easier for you so you don't have to come into Microsoft Ads and make the changes. You can just do them in Google Ads and then they'll be imported into Microsoft Ads automatically. When do you want to receive errors or rather email notifications? Well, only when there's errors, okay? Everything else looks good. That's the email we have on the account. We're going to leave everything else as is, assuming we want the same budget in Google Ads and in Microsoft Ads, and then sync the campaign budgets. Here, customize bid. Again, we're going to sync the bids, whatever we have in Google Ads, we're going to have here. Although if you do want to customize them, you can come in here and you can say, hey, I want to decrease my bid by, let's say, 30% because it's Microsoft, it's much smaller, so I don't have to pay as much, which in general is true. For the most part, the cost per click will be lower in Microsoft Ads, but not all the time. Not all the time. Some niches, it is actually more expensive, at least from my experience, from what I found. Customize status. So we want to send over everything. So we don't need to customize it. We'll just sync it. And then we're going to click on Start Import. And now it's going to be in queue. It's going to check the campaigns for issues and we're going to see how it's doing. All right, and so there you go. So we have imported all of these items. So we've imported 7 campaigns, 9 ad groups, 3 audience signals. Of course, you can't import everything, but you do want to come in here and just see what was missed. So 1 asset group, 1 listing group, 3 ads, keywords, possibly because Microsoft Ads doesn't have all the same ad formats that Google Ads does. So that's probably what that is. But we're going to take a look here and we're going to see. So we want to confirm everything. And yeah, so that looks good. So now let's view the campaigns. Let's see what we got here. And there you go. So all the campaigns have been added. The main one that I'm concerned with is the search campaign. So search Dynamic Growth Agency. Let's just take a look and make sure everything has been added. So here we have our 4 ad groups that we've added. Let's look at the ads. We should have the 4 ads. Okay. Or no, we had more because we did a split test on one of them. And then if we click on any of them, it should take us to the page, the same as we did. If we go to keywords, we should see everything here, okay? So super awesome, they're all exact, and voila, saves you so much time, guys. With just the click of a few buttons, you have everything here in Microsoft Ads. Now, keep in mind, okay, one thing for you guys to keep in mind, let's go back to all campaigns. is that if you don't have audience ads enabled, then you might not be able to import all of these options. Like for example, demand gen relies on audience networks. If we click on this one, over here, if you go to audiences, yeah, so here we're targeting lookalike audience. So we don't have a lookalike audience inside of Microsoft Ads, so we can't do that. But as you can see, there's no keywords here, right? Because this was a campaign based on specific audience groups. So here we did lookalike and we don't have lookalike audiences here, so that's why it's not going to show up. But yeah, basically you're going to have everything here. So let me just actually, oh yeah, I don't have to pause anything because I didn't enter my payment details specifically for that. But everything should be here, so yeah, awesome stuff. So let's import the other campaigns now. Let me show you how to do that. Let's do Facebook ads. So it's going to follow the exact same process. You're going to sign in with FB. I'm just going to go ahead and log in here. And it looks like there already was some connection, so we'll just reconnect. If not, you just verify and just click connect. It's the same thing. And then once again, we're going to select our account. It was this one right over here. We're going to hit next. And then for this one, we're going to call it Facebook ads, November 21st, 2024. So once again, we're going to say automatic so that once we make changes in Facebook, they will automatically be changed here. If you don't want to do that, then we're just going to come down here and click on advanced settings, which by the way, I wanted to show you how to do this for the Google Ads one, but I forgot because it's just so easy to miss. It's all grayed out. But over here, what you could also do is select specific campaigns. So you don't have to import everything. For example, retargeting, you don't have any retargeting audiences here or a retargeting list here. So this won't really make sense, but just for simplicity, you can still import everything. And then when you go to next, over here, you have more options that I wanted to show you. So starting from the top, you can import items that were not previously imported into Microsoft. You can do updates to existing items. You can choose the UET tag, which is what we said here. You can increase the keyword bids to the minimum or recommended value. So let's suppose we don't want to do that. We want to keep it as it is in Facebook. Then we're going to keep that off. You can customize bids for Microsoft. So for example, on here, we want to decrease the bids by 30% again. You can increase the budget, customize the budget. And over here, if your campaigns are paused, as they are for us, then we can include paused campaigns. And that is about right. Let's click next. And then here you can say run import now. And actually, you don't really have a choice. So if you do import it, then you either have the automatic option or once a month or so. But if you do want to stop, then you just come in and you just disable this integration. And I'm going to show you how to do that. If you want to disable it, if you just want to import it now, just one time, and then not have it done automatically, you can certainly do that. And then everything else is the same. We're going to say start import. And this might not import everything. The connection is a little wonky because, of course, you're comparing Facebook ads to Microsoft, but you will at the very least get all the images, get all the creatives so that you can come in and create search ads with the image extensions, which Microsoft Ads has and Google Ads only has depending on the account. So we have 92 items here that were imported. So all 4 campaigns, everything was imported, but keep in mind, I believe this account has actually been enabled for audience. So if your account isn't eligible for the audience campaign, you will not be able to import all of these campaigns. So let's view these campaigns here. There you go, they're audience campaigns. Let's click on one of them. Let's click on the sales one here. Let's just take a look and see what they got. So we have all these different ad groups that we've created. Let's look at the ads. Yeah, so there are no ads, and what you might want to do is just come in here and just remove that filter to see all the ads. Yeah, so you will have to come in and do the ads because obviously it can't just copy paste the exact ads from Facebook. It follows a totally different format, but it does as much as possible, right? So it does a pretty dang good job. So here, similar to pricing page visitors, yeah, this was a lookalike, and we don't have a lookalike, but it lays the backbone, lays the foundation for you so that it makes it much, much easier for you to manage. So we've set up these import lists. Now, if we go to import schedule and history, we should see the different imports. What we can do is if you don't want to have this import come in and do it automatically, you can just click on paused. And that way, whenever you make changes in Google, they will not be reflected here in Microsoft, okay? And if you do want to make changes in Google and you want them to be reflected in Microsoft, then you can come in here and enable it. What I like to do is I like to pause it, and then myself, I'm going to come in and import manually once I determine that the changes that I made in Google are good to be transferred over to Microsoft. Otherwise, I don't want to touch it. So let's come in here and import this last option here, Pinterest ads. We're going to sign into our Pinterest ads account. And then here it's just asking us for permission to integrate them. Now, if you have signed into your Facebook account via this import as well, then it's going to automatically try to log you in via Pinterest via your Facebook account, which is very silly. So either just type in your password and email very quickly or just log out and stop the Facebook integration, stop the Facebook import, and then come back in here and do this. And I'll show you how to do that later. So let's click on give access and then we'll go in and see all our imports in a bit. So we're going to just keep it at automatic schedule. All here, let's name it Pinterest ads, November 21st, 2024. This is the email we want to get notifications to. We don't need to mess with the advanced settings for this one. We know that everything else is pretty good as it is. We'll click on Start Import, and then it's going to import right now and in automatic intervals. So let's give this a few seconds to load here. There you go. So let's see what they imported. 5 campaigns. Okay, so actually we should have selected the campaigns and not imported the sample ones that I had before, but that's okay. So the in-market audience targets weren't imported. That makes sense. That's fine. Let's view the campaigns. And actually, the ones that I did here, I think these were the ones that I did before. So let's go ahead and delete those. And then this is the one, the cold audience. That's the one that we did in the other section. Let's take a look again. Okay, so here we're targeting the digital marketing agency keywords, right? So if we go to audience, come down here, financial services, right? So it automatically used the Microsoft Ads audience of financial services for this specific group. And if we go to ads, let's see if it imported the ads. Oh, it did. For this one, it did import the ads. Pretty cool. So let's click on it. Let's take a look. Yeah, so it has the ad, has the headlines, has everything you need. So you don't have to create or recreate everything. You can just come in here and import it. I don't normally recommend it. I would recommend that you just go in there for audience campaigns rather. For Pinterest and for Facebook, that you come in here and you set up your own audience groups because they have different groups. But what you could do is just keep it like this to make it easier. So you could import it just to have a base, like to have a backbone, and then come in and just make all the edits yourself. Okay, so either make it from scratch or just come in here and just do all the edits to make sure that all the targeting options make sense. Like over here, for example, keyword targeting, they don't have such a thing here. There's no keyword targeting for audience groups, for an audience campaign, right? So that's that for this. That's that for importing. So let's click over here. Let's see what we got here. So we've paused the Google Ads import. And then if we want to see the other imports, the meta ones, we're going to come in here. And then here, if you want, you can delete this. So you can come in here and delete this and say, okay, I no longer want the Facebook integration. I want to re-log in via Facebook. Then you would do that here. Boom. Now it's deleted. Now you have to redo it. Okay. Then you can come into Pinterest. And you can do the same. You can say pause. Okay, I don't want to automatically import from Pinterest, and that is it. I wish they showed you everything, but you do have to come in here and select them all individually. And then here are the logs. So it's going to say the Google ad imports, the Meta ad imports, Pinterest ads imports, and then file ad imports. I never use this really. So if you come in here, if you go to import from file, yeah, so here they give you download the import template. You can take a look at this and let's quickly see what that looks like because I've never used this. And then you just come in here and you, I'm guessing, fill in the blanks for all this stuff. But this is a more tedious process. I can't imagine anybody wanting to use this unless they are using a campaign that's not from Google, Pinterest, or Facebook. And then you would just fill these in, fill in all the details, but it seems really messy. So unless you already have an existing sheet with all these details, there's really no need for you guys to do that. You can just use the regular import features as we have done. So that is all. That's how you import a campaign. Now, if for whatever reason you want to recreate the campaign from scratch, or let's suppose you just want to create a brand new campaign, you don't want to import, you want to create a brand new campaign that you don't have on Google, Pinterest, or Facebook, how do you do that? So in the next video, I'm going to show you how to do a search campaign here with Microsoft Ads. So let's get to it. All right, so let me now show you how to create a Microsoft Ads campaign. So we're going to click on campaigns over here, and we already have a bunch of incredible campaigns here. Let's just close out of that so we can see everything. All these lovely ones that we've imported, and we're just going to deselect that option, select somewhere else, and then click on create. And you could choose which objective you want. It ultimately doesn't matter. So we're just going to click on skip. And we're going to select search. So same as with Google, if you have a shopping campaign, you can come over here and Merchant Center, you can import all of your products from Google Ads. If you have the Google Ads Merchant Center, they have the Performance Max campaign, same as with Google Ads, the Audience campaign, which is like display ads, TV ads, and property promotion ads. I have not used the lodging or the connected TV ads, but in general, the main 4 ad formats you will be using are the search, shopping, Performance Max, or Audience. You should already know if you followed along with me in the Google Ads module how to create every single one of these campaign types, excluding the connected TV and lodging. So what I'm going to do in this video is just focus on search, just to give you a rough idea of what the interface looks like, and then everything else should be second nature to you. More so because we've already done that with Google. So let's click on search here, and let's suppose we want to target a different market here, right? That Google can't reach. So we're going to say search ads, we're going to click continue, and we're going to give this a name. As soon as it loads, let's say search. And let's say website building services, for example, for this one. We're going to give this a budget. Let's say $100 a day. We're going to choose the location. Let's say United States and Canada. And then we want to say people in your targeted location, right? Not people that are searching for marketing agency in Canada. We want people only who live in these countries. So we're going to select this option here. We're not going to select French. No, no, no. We're going to select English. That's our primary language here. Our ads will be in English. We're not going to auto-generate assets. We don't need to add a disclaimer, and we don't need to enable dynamic search ads. We're going to be creating the ads ourselves, same as we did with Google with a responsive ad format. These dynamic search ads are good if you are already doing well, if you're scaling and you want to get some more ideas by Microsoft. Otherwise, this is just AI scanning your site, putting up ads that it sees are best fit. We don't want to do that. So we're going to click on save and go to next step. And we're just going to create a standard ad group. So let's enter our website URL here, get some ideas. Oops, and it's logged this out. That's fine. We'll just refresh and get on the main page. Or better yet, close out of that and just use this site right here. Come in here, enter the website URL. So over here, let's suppose we want to focus on website building. We want to focus on people searching for website building services. So we can say here website building. And then over here, under the product or service, let's delete that. And instead, let's enter website building agency or something like that. And let's get some ideas. So normally, same as with Google Ads, you would use the keyword planner. So Microsoft Ads does have a keyword planner. You can just come in here, you can duplicate this tab, and let me show you what that's going to look like. And then you would follow the exact same process. Again, we've already done that extensively in the Google Ads module, so there's no need for us to just repeat it here. But if you do want some more keyword ideas, if we go back, let's come back to Microsoft Advertising here. Just to be safe, let's just stay here and then I'll just show you after we finish this campaign. But they do have a keyword planner as well. So we're looking for a website design services, maybe something like that. So we can look at all the keywords, we can select the ones. So website design service, website design agency, website design company, not builder, because we're a company that does it. So website design companies, website design agencies, best online web design, best web design agency, agency. Okay, so we can add them to this ad group, the website building one. We're going to hit add, and then we can just keep going down the list and see what else is relevant. So not website builders, right? We're not an app that helps you build a website, so gotta be careful with that. Website development, let's look at this. Website agency, website development, e-commerce, website development agency, all of these could work. Website marketing agency, website creation agency. Yeah, so as long as it has that word agency, website builder for agencies, no, that is not what we're looking for. Website agencies, I don't know if that's relevant. Okay, we can try it. And we can add it to this ad group. Okay, so something like that, we could stick with this. Hopefully you should know how to do the keyword research by now, so you can go in there and use it. So we'll go save and go to next step. The dynamic ad group, that was for the dynamic ads, where the ads are auto-populated, auto-generated, and the URL from your website is random. So we don't want that. We want to take people specifically to a specific page. So we're going to select responsive search ad. Actually, let's say we want to take people to the contact page. We're going to copy that. Oops. What's happening here? Let's paste it here. So URL is good. It's going to get us some ideas. Better browsing, smooth surfing. That is not at all correct. So in fact, we have to delete all these and we're going to recreate them. So that is horrible. That's horrible, horrible AI. That's really bad. So we can say, we can design your website. Let us build your website. And then we can use some of the keywords. So some of the keywords are web design agency, web design services. So we can say website design agency. Let's say we are a website design agency. We offer web design services. Okay, and now we need some call to actions. So let's say contact us now. Let's add some more. Let's say get a free consultation. Talk to our experts now. Okay, so these are good for call to action. So now let's describe our product. Let's say what we do, or describe ourselves. So we can say, for example, we've built over 552 websites. Let's say we have over, say, 65 plus clients. Okay, let's do one more. Combined, let's say 223 plus, plus, third time's the charm, years of combined, that won't fit. Okay, 225 years, maybe, years of combined years of experience. So we can do that. Okay, so now this is relevant to what people are typing in, right? If they're typing in web design agency, that's what we're saying. I don't like these are horrible. How is it getting enhanced features? This is so wrong. Microsoft, get your stuff together. This is wrong. This is totally wrong. Not at all. Okay, so let's say we are a digital marketing agency that can help you build a professional looking website. Okay, and here we can say we've built over, what did we say, 552 or so? We built over 152 websites. If we're doing lowercase, that's the lowercase for everything. Consistency is key here. We've built over 552 websites and can help you too. We've built, let's say we've designed over 502 websites and can help you too. Sell your products like never before, something like that. Okay, so that gives a little bit of information about us. And maybe one more, let's say, let us take care of the annoying stuff and build your website for you. You focus on what matters. Okay, so here's the message I want to portray. So now let's cut that. Let's say, not let us, let's say we'll. We'll take care of the annoying stuff and build your site while you focus on what matters. Okay, so that's good. Let's come down. Okay, so we can add an image, although I don't think there's going to be a super relevant image here. Okay, so these were the images that were imported. So let's see if we can find something that was imported from our, okay, yeah, so here, maybe there's something like that. Now this is an image extension, so it doesn't always show up. And with Google Ads, some accounts do have the image extension, some don't. Depends on the spend, depends on the history as well. So let's look at this one. Let's try that one. Let's hit on apply. And this we can say, no, let's say digital marketing agency. And for the alt text, we'll do the same. Hit save. And let's add maybe a few more images here. And unfortunately, we can only add one at a time. So let's just come in here and just add that one. Let's add one more. There you go. So now it's going to look like that, right? Like that and like that. Let's see if we can edit this and just crop it out a little bit. So here's all the different dimensions. So we can also come in here and recrop. And for example, maybe something like that. Hit save. Let's edit this one, recrop. How about the same? As long as it shows my agency and what we can do. It's a little bigger, it's getting a little bigger. We can start including our logo, hopefully. Almost. Or we can just do this for this one. Yeah, it's okay. 1.5. Yeah. Okay. That's a little bigger. We can do that. 1 by 1 is easy enough. And the one that's a little smaller, want to make sure everything's in. Good. Okay. So that one's good now. That one's going to look good. So if we select it, it should at least have the main stuff there. Now we want to do it for all the other ones as well. Expert in digital marketing. Actually, you should have said experts, right? Not expert. I guess we kind of flopped on that one. That's okay. Looks good. So now at least it shows that, and we want to do it for this one too. Okay, that doesn't look bad. Move it down a little bit. Maybe that looks better. Hard to tell for some of them. Maybe this one for this one. And yeah, that looks better. Just make sure the 1 by 1 is good. Something like that. Okay. There you go. So these are just extensions. They're not guaranteed to show up, but when they do, we want them to be right. We want them to be accurate, right? Don't worry about the recommendations. We're not going to apply those. And add URL options. Okay, so here you don't have to do anything at all. So if we hit test here, now it should add all of these parameters that we've added before. See? So you don't have to do a single thing anymore. Just want to make sure it's the same. So website building services. Yeah, so that's the name of that campaign, right? So search, and then the name of the campaign was website building services. And then UTM term, that's going to be replaced with a keyword, UTM content, and the click ID. That looks good. That was the ad ID. And don't worry too much about the ad strength again. And here's what the ad will look like. So looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. Let's hit save. And then we could create a split test by clicking on copy ad and then just do something totally different. So for example, let's test instead of saying, let us build your website. Instead of saying, I want to leave that. Instead of saying we are a design building website, let's see. We can double your conversions, for example. Let's see how well that does. So let's here, position 1. Okay, so that's what we want to test. This is going to be the test. So if this one does better, then we know it's because of this. And if it does worse, then we know it's because of this. Okay, so we're just pinning it to position 1 here and we're testing. So we can double your conversions. Let's see. We're going to save. And that's it. Don't worry about extensions. Well, it's the same exact process as in Google Ads. So actually, since we've already added them with Google Ads, they have been added here automatically as well. So we can just come in here and drag them. We don't have to redo them. Jesus. Okay. So it's got the 6. For action extension, yeah, so that's a new type of extension here that Microsoft Ads has, since that's about the only one we're going to do. Let's do it. It's basically just a little button that's going to show up on your ad. So that's pretty cool. So we can say, contact us. Let's add our Control C. Don't worry about the final URL suffix and all that. We have already set that up in the tracking section. Okay. So that's going to be our action there. And then here we can just drag everything that's been imported from Google. Super convenient. All the callouts, all the promotion. And then they do have the structured snippets as well. Let's come in and grab those. The price one, I suppose we did add that. Let's hit save for all of them, by the way. So it saves everything. Okay, so here we're adding all these extensions. Structured snippet. The review ones, these are cool too. These are new. They don't have that in Google Ads. They used to, not anymore. The call extension, only if there's a phone number. We don't actually have a phone number. We're going to keep that off. Location extension, same thing as with Google Ads. And yes, we're going to click cancel here. So let me show you what these other two are though, filter, link, and flyer, because these are new. You haven't seen them before. The review extensions are basically when you come in here, you can write something about yourself. So let me just show you. But then you do need the source, and then they verify the source. Microsoft verifies the source. So if you don't have anybody saying anything good about you specifically, then you can't use this, because then they're just going to disapprove it. Okay, so you do need somebody saying something good about you. You can add the review text, whether paraphrased or the exact quote. Microsoft checks it, and then it shows up just below your ad. So it shows up like a part of the description basically. So that's the review. Really cool. Call extension, you know, phone number, location, you know. So let's start off with a filter link. A filter link extension is basically like a combination of a site link and a structured snippet extension. So let me show you what that looks like. So you can come in here and you can say, for instance, let's say services. We have services. And then what that's going to do is that's going to have services on the left-hand side. And then on the right side, it's going to say the values. So over here, we can say let's say, yeah, website design. We can say email marketing. We can say paid ads. We can say tracking and analytics. And we can say conversion optimization if it fits. Okay, that fit. We can enter the URL, Control C, Control V, Control E, Control E, Control V. And that should be about it. Let me quickly show you what they look like also. So I think that looks good. Okay, so filter link extensions. Let me show you. So it's like a combination between site link extensions and callout extensions. So it's going to look like this, where you have the price and then you have these clickable texts right there, right? Deals and clickable texts. So you can add several of them and it just adds more space again. Or here, destinations, it has the destinations featured hotel, kind of like a site link extension or an asset that just goes to the right instead of down bottom. So that's what that is. And then let's come back in here. So we could add several more. We could add services. We could add whatever else we offer. Or instead, we could go, for example, into more detail. So we could say web design and then blah, blah, blah. We could say email marketing, blah, blah, blah. So we'll click done. And then flyer extension basically looks like a flyer. So it's going to have an image on the left. And then on the right, it's going to have like different button and text about your product. So if I type in flyer extension to show you what that looks like, let's say Bing ads. So it's going to look something like this, where it's going to add a little flyer basically. So we could just set that up here as well. Let's click add new flyer extension. Let's give it a name. So let's say marketing services. Let's grab one of our images here. Okay, so I went ahead and added this one. For the final URL, we can again, copy that, paste it here, can leave that blank. So we're going to enter a special promotion. So let's say from November 30th to, let's say, December 31st. Let's say it's a special Christmas promotion. It's got to be 30 days. Let's do 30th, something like that. And then URL options, everything is settled here. We don't have to do anything. You can select days. You can set a certain schedule for this specific extension, and that's it. It's going to add a little literal flyer to the bottom of your ad, below your ad. We're going to hit save, and that's pretty much it. So we've set up our campaign. We've set up our ad now with all of these cool extensions that we've imported from Google Ads. We'll click save and go to next step. Here we can change the budget. We can choose the bidding strategy. So same as with Google, when you're first starting out, go with enhanced CPC or maximize clicks. And then as you start getting the data, you want to switch to target CPA and target ROAS, right? So you tell Microsoft, hey, I want to get 200% return on ad spend. And then that's what they're going to get you here. Over here for $3.59 per click, we're getting about 400 clicks. So let's say maybe we want to start with $2 and that should be good. Let's see how that goes. We're going to use account level settings, campaign targets. Yeah, so country, if you want to specify, adjust a bid, you can do so. Advanced options, if you want to set a specific time, anything like that, but we're good here. And we're just going to click save. And there you go. So now we have to add a payment method. That's fine. But I just want to show you how to create this campaign. So let's look for our campaign. I believe it was digital marketing here. Search website building services. So we have that here. You can click on that. And let's just remove this filter again. We should see that ad group. We should see the ad and the keywords. And you can come in here and you can just change anything you want to. And of course, for the keywords, again, what I like to do is select all 18. I like to change match types from broad to exact. In this case, we're going to hit save. Don't forget to do that. And then for the ads, come in here. We should see all the ads if you clear the filter. There you go. So I'm pretty happy with that. I think that looks good. And hopefully this gives you an idea for how to create a Microsoft Ads campaign, at least a search campaign. For the other campaign types, it's going to follow the same suit as we did with Google Ads. So that is all for this video. I will see you in the next one. All right, so let's finish off strong here with Microsoft Ads and talk about the audiences so that you can come back in and start creating those remarketing campaigns, or at the very least, have the audiences ready on standby for whenever you need to use them. And by the way, I never showed you the keyword tool. So if you go to tools over here, you have to select what you want to see on the left-hand side. So we want to see audiences, and the keyword planner tool is going to be this one. So make sure you pin it and then click close. And then if you click on, where's the keyword option here? Here it is. You can click on Keyword Planner and then you can search for new keywords and then just follow the exact same process that we did with Google Ads. If you have no idea how to do keyword research, please refer back to the Google Ads video where I go over this in detail. It's at least an hour-long video where we go over extensive keyword research and putting the keywords into groups and organizing them and then adding them to our campaign. So take a look at that video, but Microsoft does have their own keyword planner here. Now, in terms of the audiences, Let's look for the audiences now, which is right over here. Click on audience library and let's create some remarketing lists. So let me show you how to do that. And it looks like we already have some audiences imported from our Facebook ads campaign. So we can keep them as is, or if you want, you can come in here and delete them, assuming of course they're not being used by a campaign. If so, then you have to go to the campaign, you have to remove them, and then you can delete them from here. So we're just gonna leave that as is, and let's create some new audiences. So let's suppose we wanna create a buyer's audience. We wanna create a list of buyers over a certain amount. We wanna create a cart abandoner list. We wanna create people that have seen our ads, impressions, and let's suppose we want to create a list of leads. Okay, so we're going to click on create over here. So then here you have the 5 different types of remarketing audiences you can create. The first is just the standard remarketing list where you can target people based on the specific URL that they landed on or specific events that they triggered. So we already created the events, right? Like people who purchased, people who initiated the checkout. So we can retarget based on those events. Next, you have the dynamic remarketing list. So this has to do with your merchant center. So if you have a merchant center like the Google Ads shopping product feed that we have added in the Google Ads module, then you'll be able to retarget based on people who interacted with your products from that feed. Next, you have the customer match list. So if you have a list of contacts, such as via your email service provider, like GetResponse in our case, we can export all the contacts from there and import them into here. So that's what this is, also a super powerful remarketing tool. Next, you have a custom combination where you can say, hey, I want to target people from this remarketing list and people from this dynamic remarketing list and people from this customer match list. You can do that. And you can pull them all in into one group. And last but not least, you have the impression-based remarketing list, which is really cool, which we haven't seen with any of the advertising networks so far, where you'll be able to retarget people based on them just seeing your ad, not necessarily clicking, but just seeing your ad. So let's start with this one. It's the easiest one. So let's just say, impression-based remarketing. And then the maximum for this is 30 days, so we'll just say 30 days. So people that have seen our ad in the past 30 days, that's who we're going to target. And then we're going to choose a campaign. You can choose campaign or ad group. So let's say our search campaign, or we could say, for example, our display campaign, which is our demand gen, possibly. Demand gen or performance max, or possibly, yeah, I guess that's about it. So here the maximum is 30 days. Normally for your audiences, the maximum is 540 days, but for this campaign type, you cannot do more than 30 days. So if we click save, it's going to tell us we need 30. So that's fine. Keep it at 30. And then we'll come in here and hit save. And that's it. Simple as that. So we're done with this one here. So now we have here this impression-based remarketing list, impression-based remarketing. So now let's create some more. Let's make a list of people who purchased. So we're going to select remarketing list. We're going to say buyers. Let's say buyers in the past 90 days. We're going to hit next. And then we're going to select our tag, which is this one. We're going to choose what type of audience we want. So here we can just say custom events. And we can say when the action equals to purchase. Because that was our action under Google Tag Manager, right? We set the action equals purchase. And it has to be exactly that. Purchase, don't worry about this. This is automatically all done via Google Tag Manager. So you don't have to customize it because all this data is already pushed through in our Google Tag Manager. So we're going to make this 90 days. We're going to say only for this account. We're going to hit save. And that's it. It's as simple as that. So let's just keep going. Let's click create. Let's name this one the cart abandoners. We'll say remarketing list. For this one, unfortunately, we won't be able to specify with events. So say, for example, we can't say, hey, people that have reached this event, but not another event. We can't do that. So we will need to use visitor of a page who did not visit another page. So here we're going to say a rule. So the URL contains, shoot, and I don't remember what that URL was. Let me quickly log in and check so we can get those accurate URLs. All right, so I'm logged back into this account. So let's head over into our funnels. Go to funnels here. We're going to click on this one and let's grab the URL of the checkout page and then exclude the one from the confirmation page. So we want this one and we want this one. So this is the checkout page. So we can just say include this one here. Can't seem to grab it all. We don't need that slash checkout, control C. URL contains this, okay? So as long as it contains that, but it doesn't contain this, then we want to include that to the list. So that one's going to be, screw it, let's just copy everything and then we'll just delete it. Delete that extra slash, not needed. Hit done, okay? So now we're going to be targeting visitors of a page who visited this page, but didn't visit the thank you page. Those are going to be our cart abandoners. Oh, and we forgot to put the date. let's say 14 days. Don't worry about the code, everything's done. We'll hit save, but we should change that to 14 days. Got it. Close out of that stuff. Let's come in here, click on that again, and just say cart abandoners 14 days. There you go. Hit save. And before we add the lead submits and the people who clicked on the phone call button, let's add a list of people that visited any part of our page as well. So let's click on create here. For remarketing list, let's type in all website visitors, and the maximum I believe is 390 days for this one. And then you can do the same thing that we did with Facebook ads, where we created 15 to 20 different audiences. So you could say, for example, 390 days, all website visitors, 180, 90, 30, so on and so forth, right? But we'll just go with just the generic one, since you should already know how to do it. And then you can add as many as you like later on. So we'll click on next. We're going to select our tag. We're going to say visitors of a page. Okay, so in this case, we want to target people that visited any part of our page, right? So let's come in here and let's just select Dynamic Growth Agency. We're just going to select our URL here. Come back here, and we're not going to say contains. We're just going to say starts with. So as long as the URL starts with this, then we want to target anybody. So let's just delete that. Or not starts with, actually, yeah, let's say contains. So as long as it contains this in the URL, which it should, then they'll be added to our list. Because with Microsoft Ads, there is no option to target all page visitors. So we have to do it this way. So that's all. And then over here, we're going to say 390. And then that's the maximum. So let's hit save. And now you can come back in here and just create as many additional audiences of those that you like. So all website visitors, 180 days, 90, 60, so on and so forth. Okay, so let's create two more. Let's create this one, let's say leads. Let's say leads past 90 days. Oops. D days. Hit next. We're going to select the tag again. We're going to pick an event for this one since we did it. And then for the action, I believe it was lead for us. That was the name of our action. So as long as the action contains lead, that's all we need. And then here we're going to say 90 days, hit save. There you go. Let's do one more. And that was the phone call event. So let's just make sure everything is good. 30 days, 390. Let's create. Let's say phone call leads. So maybe let's say 30 days for this one. Make it a little more fresh. Hit next. Select the tag. We're going to say event. For the action, I think we called it phone call. So we're just going to write exactly as we did in our Google Tag Manager. I believe that's what we called it, phone call. But you can always come in there and double check. And then here we left it at, I believe it was 30 days. Yeah. Hit save, and there you go. So congratulations, you have created your audiences here with Microsoft Ads. Feel free to add as many as you like, one for each segment. And then when you do remarketing, then you can target, for example, everybody in the past 30 days. So phone call leads past 30 days, your website visitors 30 days, your leads 30 days, your impression-based marketing 30 days. And then you can package that in one remarketing campaign. And then you can create another campaign for 60 days, another campaign for 90 days, where you just package all of these together and just remarket to them. So that is all. Hopefully this gives you a good idea of how to use Microsoft Ads. This mainly was a tutorial to get you accustomed to all the different settings they have, but now that you know where everything is and how to create all these main concepts such as audiences, campaigns, conversion tracking, you should have no problem doing whatever you want to here with Microsoft Ads.
And that is it for this video. Hopefully you guys found value and you now know everything you need about Microsoft Ads, how to set up campaigns, set up tracking, set up remarketing, and so on. If you guys enjoyed this video, I invite you to check out my other videos on my YouTube channel. I have over 700 videos related to affiliate and online marketing, everything from building websites, email marketing, paid ads, you name it. I also offer you guys a free 7-day online marketing starter plan on my website at ivanmana.com. So check that out along with other freebies and resources. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you in the next video.